Welcome back into the Viking Central podcast. We're going to talk some of our free agents that we have signed so far. Day one, day two now, head into day two. We're recording this about 10 a.m. Central Time, but obviously a lot has happened already on Tuesday here. Before we get into it, well, I'm Brett. Austin's with me. How are we doing, Austin?
Doing great. Just happy the Vikings are finally doing something here. Been
Heck
exciting
yeah.
morning.
Heck yeah, building those trenches. Before
Yeah.
we get into the video, do want to shout out our sponsor real quick, and that's Stead Foods. Check out Stead Foods, a Minnesota-based candy company specialized in delicious chocolate bars. They have something for everyone, and of course, my personal favorite, caramel crack, will keep you coming back for more. It is just super delicious. Use code VC10 for 10% off and use the link on the screen or in the description. Again, use code VC10 for 10% off and use the link on the screen or in the description. All right. They're bringing free agency frenzy to a new meaning here. We'll start on day one. So we signed three guys, so two free agents, and then we re-signed Byron Murphy Jr. But let's start with Isaiah Rodgers. That was our first signing, essentially, of free agency. What'd you think of about that signing right off the bat?
Right off the bat, I was a little concerned with it because he didn't get a lot of playing time there with the Eagles. But then you look more into it, more beyond the surface of it, and I just thought that he's going to be a guy that he's versatile. He is short. Everyone's gonna. I can already hear the complaints on Twitter about how he's only 5'10". He's small. He can't cover, but in reality, he does a great job, especially on the outside. You wouldn't think someone of his size, but he does a good job of staying with the guy, being on him, and using. He kind of has length with his arms, and he does a good job there.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. He's very sticky in coverage. I don't want to compare him to like DJ Reed because DJ Reed's one of the best around the football, but he was the sixth best graded cover corner according to PFF, which is huge, just to be able to cover guys, especially with the pass rush now, and the interior is going to be able to get after the quarterback a little bit. Just to have a guy that can cover in space is huge, especially out of the slot or a nickel. It's going to be fun having Isaiah Rodgers. I think it's an underrated signing in my opinion. So yeah, just a really solid signing right off the bat.
Well, and he's going to return kicks for us. So
Yep.
yeah, he's going to be he's going to be good. And he's going to be exciting
For sure. Agreed. Next up, Ryan Kelly, center from the Indianapolis Colts, was there for 9 years. 32 years old, I believe. Come to the Vikings. Going to be the center for, I'm assuming, J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, 6'6", 300 pounds. He's a big bruising center. He's played his whole career at center, which I like as well. Have the experience there. He does a great job of going downhill on the run blocking game, but then he does a good job of establishing the offensive line up front as a center, which is important to do with the pass game.
For sure. Agreed. Yeah, he's just a rock solid center. Probably not going to be as good as he was when he was 26, 27, 28 years old, obviously.
Yeah.
But to have a guy with that much experience behind your first time starting quarterback is huge. Like you said, good in pass blocking, good in run blocking, just an overall really rock solid center who's going to be here for the next year or two. And I think that's very important. They could even be like grooming a little bit with like Michael Juergens behind Ryan Kelly, a guy that they're really high on. So, yeah, I love the signing. Kind of came out of the blue. I didn't really expect it.
Yeah.
People have been asking about Garrett Bradbury. Well, what's going to happen there? But it's been time for an upgrade. I think he's definitely an upgrade over Garrett Bradbury.
Oh, for sure. My favorite stat that I have from him is from Pro Football Focus. 601 snaps. He's only given up one sack. I mean, that's what I like to hear. That's going to be great especially for a rookie quarterback if we do go with J.J. McCarthy going forward.
For sure. And I saw another stat. It was like it was a crazy stat. I don't know the exact one, but it was like the last handful of years he's only given up like even 10 quarterback hurries or something like that, or quarterback hits. Like, okay, that's what we need. That's man, that's like a 3-game sample for Garrett Bradbury. So it's time for an upgrade. All right. Next up, Byron Murphy, re-signed, 3 years, $66 million. What was your initial thought there on the re-sign of a guy that's been very important in Brian Flores' defense?
I was ecstatic. I wanted him back. I mean, the fan favorite was Breezy. Everyone wanted Cam Bynum to come back, but
Yeah,
in terms of who was the better fit in this system, what's the harder piece to get in free agency and or the draft? I think getting a lockdown cornerback like that, and he got he had a big market. He had teams everywhere going after him, and it was for a good reason.
yeah,
He was one of the top three cornerbacks available in this free agency class, and
for sure.
I'm just happy we were able to bring him back. He was already established in the system. I think it being another year in the system, I think he's going to be even better this upcoming few seasons.
Yeah, he's in his prime. It's going to be his 27, 28, 29 seasons. Um, this is a really rock solid corner. 6 interceptions last year. If you're able to turn the ball over like that, like that's going to give more opportunities for your offense. And just to see that in this system was a big advantage. So yeah, I loved it too. Uh, great, great deal there for both Byron Murphy and the Vikings. Jonathan Allen from the Commanders. That was announced this morning. He pretty much visited half the day yesterday. But 3 years, $60 million deal. We haven't seen like guarantees yet or what the contract exactly looks like. But a guy who can just get after the passer finally from the interior.
Yeah.
How do you think he's going to fit along Brian Flores' defensive line?
I think he's gonna have a great fit. It's kind of like we've been talking about in previous episodes. It's just a matter of he can get to the quarterback. He does a good job. He's fast. He has good handwork to get past the offensive lineman.
Yep.
And just that right there opens up the pass coverage, not having the rush to pass. We're able just to go in with 4 guys at the quarterback.
Yep.
But then you go off of that, he does a good job also not over pursuing in the run game and actually making the big play to stop the run game at
Yep.
or behind the line of scrimmage.
For sure. Yeah. And those are all great qualities to have because we've been kind of missing that for the last couple of years. Like the last time someone who could rush the passer like that from the interior is probably like Sheldon Richardson when we had him like a handful of years ago.
Yeah.
And I can kind of throw this guy in here because they're both defense tackles. I mean, as we're talking about the defensive line, kind of just talk about Javon Hargrave as well, 32 years old from the 49ers, another guy that can just kind of do a really good job, uh, create mismatches in the interior, getting after the passer, but it can also be a good run stopper as well. Um, Having both of those guys along the line, along with Harrison Phillips, like does that make you feel obviously a lot better about the depth at that position and maybe even create more opportunities to get after the passer for guys like Van Ginkel and Grenard and Dallas Turner?
Yeah, for sure. I love the depth we've had. You didn't even bring up Redmond. Redmond coming off a
Yep,
big year last year, and I
for
think he's
sure.
going to continue to grow. But I think in terms of opening up more lanes for Gennard and Van Ginkel, I think that's 100% going to be the case because when you have a guy pushing your center back, especially in the under center, you almost have to put 2 guys on him because you can't let them push him back into the quarterback. As us as Vikings fans know, with Garrett Bradbury, obviously Kirk Cousins got stepped on how many times and fell
Yep,
over. So I think just having to force more pressure on the inside is going to take away blocking on the outside, and I think it's going to open up lanes for Ginkel and Gennard.
love it. Love it. Yeah, if you don't have to send an extra 3, 4 guys to get after the passer, that's
Yeah.
always a plus. So hopefully that's the case here coming into this next season. Arguably the biggest signing, the most money thrown at a guy so far for the Vikings. Will Fries was arguably the best guard available. I think PFF had him after Trey Smith. Um, so Trey Smith signed his tag for like $25 million this year. Uh, Will Fries' AAV is about $17.5 million. So good value for a damn good player.
Yeah, Will Fries, we've been talking about him. This is who we both wanted.
Yeah.
We knew he was the best available interior offensive lineman.
Yep.
I think he's going to be a big piece of this offensive line. And what I like the most about him is he's kind of been a late bloomer. He hasn't really played a lot of games, but in the games he has played, he's looked really good. He's not going to have that wear and tear that happens with an offensive lineman. We're
Yep.
getting a guy in the prime of his career. He's going to be fairly fresh, coming off a great season. Him and Kelly together, had a great run game over there in Indianapolis, and I think that's gonna transition over here because Brian O'Neill and Darisol both get at it in the run game. So I just think I'm excited to see where this run game is going to go.
Yeah, it's going to be a big evolution over there because if you can get a run game, like we talked about a little bit, open up play action, especially for JJ McCarthy to just be able to sit in the pocket very comfortably and just be able to deliver the ball with time finally. Like, don't always have someone in your face. We saw that a lot with Garrett Bradbury, interior pressure. We saw it a lot with Evan Ingram. Now replace it with two guys that have shown that they can play at a high level is going to open up a lot, especially in the run game and in the pass game. Speaking of pass game, Daniel Jones, he chose Indianapolis. What do you think?
Well, it's unfortunate for him because I don't think that's going to work out too well for him. He's going to a team that lost their two best offensive linemen to the team that you could have went to. But like we said, he's going to be in a quarterback competition with Anthony Richardson, who is a very talented quarterback. Both of those guys, they kind of play the same, which kind of work out for Daniel Jones being in a system dedicated to a player that's like him. But in terms of success, I just don't see it. They don't have the weapons around them.
Yeah,
He's going into a new system when he could have stayed in a system he already kind of knew.
for sure.
So I'm gonna wish the best for him, but I don't think this was the best decision for him for his future.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. Just to be able to be in Kevin O'Connell's system for one more, even if you don't start, like you're still gonna have an opportunity next season to get a good bag and get an opportunity to start in 2026 somewhere else. But I feel like this points at just the confidence that maybe Kevin O'Connell had and JJ McCarthy, and like Daniel Jones looking at JJ McCarthy and maybe being like, there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to beat out JJ McCarthy. Whereas he just sees a better opportunity to beat out Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson's an absolute freak athlete, but like his accuracy and his decision making is just not there, unfortunately. Like he has all the potential in the world. Even if he could be like a diet Cam Newton a little bit, but I just don't see it happening. So you just saw, I feel like he saw probably a couple more dollars in his bank account and a better opportunity at starting. Now he's betting on himself. Like maybe he thinks I can come in there and be really damn good. We just don't see it happening. And the Aaron Rodgers talks are going to die down a little bit because Tom Pelissero just tweeted out that all signs are pointing to JJ McCarthy being the guy for the Minnesota Vikings in 2025. So it could change, but so far sounds like Minnesota's going with JJ McCarthy. Do you think that's the right route?
Oh, for sure, especially with the pieces we just built around him. I think we have set up good success for JJ McCarthy, but I think we have to give him some experience while he's on his rookie contract. I think he has it's a couple more years left on his rookie contract. Let him play it out. So then by the end of his rookie contract, that's when teams that their best window is when they find a quarterback at the end of their rookie contract. So
For sure.
I think we let JJ McCarthy go. We saw what he did in that preseason game last year. He does a great job, puts good balls, and he does a good job with accuracy. I think he knows how to win. He won a national championship with Michigan. I think he's going to help this Vikings team over the hump that we've been waiting for forever.
Yep. I agree 100%. He's won wherever he's went. In high school, he won a state championship. College, he won a national championship. Hey, could you keep it rolling for us for once? Like, bring us a championship. Like, we're starving. But yeah, they've done everything to just give him an environment where if he doesn't succeed, you're gonna be able to know, okay, maybe he's not the guy. But if he does, like, sky's the limit, baby. And that's just so exciting to think about. So a great free agency so far for the Minnesota Vikings. There's gonna be some more pieces added here coming up, probably more depth guys, but like wide receiver 3 still open. Could add another guard. Could add another safety to this team as well. I'm sure you'll hear from our pretty faces again here shortly. Viking Central, Skull.